Perfect.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the TOC-PA expert webinar. The subject of today is very interesting. It is TOC in SAP. The idea for this webinar came from the last TOC-PA conference, number 50, that we had with the idea of Dr. Eli Gilbert's legacy in the world. Rudy was the last presenter there, and he was talking about also the experience that he has had with SAP and within his group and the company. And it was just the interest was very high, and that's where we decided to have a special webinar about it. It may be also the first in a series of webinars, because that's an important issue for all of us, especially, you know, those of us that came with a background from the planning and controlling the execution, and then within whatever system. So this webinar will be conducted by our friends from Alkyoni Consulting, Rudy Burkhardt, called Seifriz, and Denise Clipper. And in the panel, we have Sanjeev Gupta and Rob Newburn. We are also around. And sort of after the presentation, I assume that both Sanjeev and Rob will join into the round table. Anybody else that has any question, comment during the session, please write to us, and then we'll hand over these comments and questions by the end of the session.
Right in the chat.
And yeah, write to us in the chat. So, Paul, you're going to start. That's hand over to you.
Okay, thank you. Hello together. My name is Paul Seifriz from Germany. I'm the CEO von Alkyoni, and I'm proud to present you TOC in SAP, Digital Supply Chain Management. Okay, Alkyoni Consulting was founded 2007. And today we have approximately 20 employees, and we work with 8 freelancers. Okay, and we only focused on TOC. We have TOC in production, and we have TOC in sales. That's the 2 areas we are in. Okay, so my colleagues was Rudy Burkhardt and Dennis Klippert. And Dennis, willst du kurz was sagen? Und dann der Rudi.
Hello, everybody. Dennis Klippert speaking. Yes, I will hand or take over in a few minutes to discuss with you the software solution itself, so the algorithms. And yes, I'm happy that there are so many other people around that are interested into our software solution and the algorithms.
Rudy?
Okay, Rudy Burkhardt. Some of you must know me from past experiences with Goldwright and Goldwright Consulting. I was, those people who know me well know that I was the one that fell asleep during one of Eli's lectures, only one. And he came down from the podium to stroke my head and tell me, Rudy, if you fall asleep in my lecture, I will kill you. So now you know who I am, and I'll give it back to Paul.
Thank you. I have a short story about the history of Alkyoni. My first contact to TOC was 1999. I read the book The Goal, and I was the project manager of the first implementation in the company. I was the CFO. Okay, then during my first consulting, I have 2006 smaller TOC projects, But in 2007, I have the first contact with the Goldratt Implementation Group Europe, and I'm still a member since there. Okay, my mentor was Alex Mesha. Okay, so I work a long time with Alex Mesha together, and a lot of his knowledge is in this software. Okay, so then the first steps, we only work with Excel. But Excel was good enough. But in the crisis 2009, we decided to program a new software, a TOC software called Simple Planning. Okay, and today we have 20 implementations with several different ERP systems. Then in the year 2015, we get a customer. It was a big company, and the ERP was SAP. And the project was really a great success. Then they say, we want to do a rollout, but the rollout is only possible when we do it in SAP. Then we have the first contact with SAP, 2017, and we start with programming. And then the people from Walder, from SAP, said, it's really good. We want to have it in the standard. Standard means it was a special app that we can implement, and then all the function of the TOC way is still there. Okay, we program, and 2018 was the start of the first pilot. It was a company in the Switzerland, and we have the first real life 2019, and after 6 months, 2020, it was real stable. Then came Corona. It was a little bit of break for the rollout, but now 2021, we have a really good, stable SAP TOC system, and we want to go to open the market. That was the idea. That was a little bit of the history, that you get a feeling why SAP has now the TOC approach in. Okay, so, and this is the next step. So we have the simple planning, and now we have the SAP solution. That's the idea. And the idea for the next hour is that you see what is in this software, which functionalities, what are the basics. It's for production. We can do make to order, make to stocks. This is all included. But the details now is only that we get on a higher level on it. And if you are interested in, we can show you in another webinar the real software. Today is that you get a good overview about it, that you say, oh, I understand what are the basic functions, what is in this software. And afterwards, we can discuss about some implementations, how it can, implementation in progress, and so on. Okay, so for the details of the software, I give up to Dennis, and Dennis will show you now what is the inside of that. Okay, any questions? So then, Dennis, the stairs is yours.
Very nice. That's the kind of a thing I felt would be tricky. The other person just needs that little open door.
Okay, hello everybody. So now you're also able to see me. Yes, in the next few minutes, I will show you some algorithms out of simple planning. And also TOC. So as Paul already mentioned, there are two different software solutions, but with one goal, with the same functionality. So, and the big difference between those two software solutions are that simple planning is can be applied to any ERP system, and TOC SAP has basically no interface because it's within the SAP standard. So each and every company out there that uses SAP as an ERP system can use the TOC SAP without having any interface and taking into account the whole ERP data. And one big difference, or I would say there are some smaller advantages and disadvantages between those two software solutions. One advantage for simple planning, for example, is that simple planning is now, as you heard, about 10 years old. And for this reason, there are some more deeper TOC functions within this software solution. But on the other side, as I already mentioned, TOC SAP has the whole ERP data, which gives us lots of more opportunities and options to calculate some more functions within this solution. So there are on both sides smaller advantages and disadvantages, but the goal is the same. The big picture is the same. The basic functions are always the same. And now we will go on and take a look at the software solution. Okay. If we talk about TOC, we have basically one big rule. TOC means for us, for the Alkyone, doing the right things. So to have the kind of the right focus. And to ensure this, we must ask ourselves the following questions. Do we produce the right things in the right quantity at the right position at the right time with the right priority and also with the right price? And we can answer those important questions with our software step by step. And to the first step within this chain of improvements is to define the right decoupling points in stock. Because decoupling is important to ensure that the factory can meet the required market lead time. And to calculate those decoupling points, we must first determine the right replenishment lead time of each material through the whole BOM. And because from our point of view, it does not make sense to have a detached determination of the stock without considering the replenishment lead time. This makes no sense. That's why we always take first into account the replenishment lead time. We calculate it for each and every material, and then we calculate the decoupling points and the stock levels. So, and how does it work? For this purpose, we have within the TOC SAP the replenishment lead time monitor, and this performs historical analysis of all materials and calculates the replenishment lead time based on the performance in the past. And for example, we can take into account the period of 1 year, and then we can also adjust this year to neither take into account the fast deliveries or nor take into account the big Murphys, you know. But in the end, we get the replenishment lead time and for each and every material. The next step is to take into account the different kinds of demands we have. And we separate at this point the spontaneous demands, so that appear within our replenishment lead time, and the safe demands that appear outside of the replenishment lead time. So we are able to serve them without any stock because we have the whole replenishment lead time to get them done. For the purpose of inventory optimization, we are only interested into the spontaneous demands. So we only take those into account and build a kind of a timeline of 1 year or something like that, or half of a year. It depends on the customer. And only take those spontaneous demands of, for example, 1 year into account and make a moving sum. And in this calculation, we just take the highest value, so the highest spontaneous demand within one replenishment lead time. In this scenario, the 130. And simply like that, we get the green line for our materials, so the target stock, the stock we would have needed to be able to serve the market demand at this point. And the same calculation we do with the expedite replenishment lead time. So again, we only take into account the spontaneous demands. And with those spontaneous demands of 1 year or half of a year, we again make the moving sum. take the biggest value and have again the red line. So our kind of safety stock, we call it red line, green line. And with this red line, we always save to be able to serve the very spontaneous demands. Okay, and it's important to understand that this system performs this calculation within a short time for all materials of a company, across all areas, across all plants, across the whole BOM level. And the customer has therefore determined within a few hours, fully automatically, all replenishment lead times, all necessary decoupling points, all stock levels, and this for the entire company. And you can imagine the big potential in cost reduction and also in availability of this, and how satisfied some customers of us are with only this first function to get clear about the different stock levels and the decoupling points. So only with this calculation, we already have great effects with our customers. But this is the step one. Step two is about to adjust the inventory, because we want to be sure that our inventory levels, which we have now determined on the basis of historical data, are sustainably adjusted to the market demands in future. So for this purpose, we have developed a dynamization of the replenishment lead time, but also of the green line and the red line. And I want to show you this within the following quick example. So in the following example, we assume a material with observation period or observation window, we call it, of, for example, 6 weeks. So this is also calculated by the software based on the replenishment lead time and a classification of a material as a high, middle, and low runner. And based on this, the replenishment lead time is then multiplied by a factor. So we have the following inventory consumption, as you can see. And within our first observation window, so we can see it now, we do not hit the red line a single time. And in this case, we have too much buffer. We have too much inventory and can now have this automatically reduced by the software, either automatically or semi-automatically. So in one case, the software just says it in a way to a planner, and the other case, the software executes and reduces the target level. And this happens now once again. So no hit in the safety stock, reduce the replenishment level. And in conclusion, we achieve a permanent reduction of the stock level with this within this given example. So, and this, yes, and there are also other patterns we measure with the software to automatically adjust the green and the red line. For example, now we have a hit at the red line. So first we only have one hit. So that's nothing tragic at first, right? That's the reason why we have the red line. But now we cannot fill up to the green line. However, we do not have enough capacity, or our supplier does not have enough capacity. We are not able to fill up. This means to us, or to our software, to the solution, that we need to have more buffer. We need to have more buffer, more inventory to be able to deliver our customer. And that's another example for those patterns we measure. And here are many more patterns that the software recognizes. And through this predictive inventory adjustment and the trend analysis as demand increases this is also kind of a highlight of the software solution. Okay, step 3. This next step ensures that in the future, the company or the planner, sales, whoever is doing this job, will always be able to make a clear statement about their current delivery times, and this in every situation. So for this, we have developed the due date quotation to calculate the delivery time for each request by the customer. So this due date quotation is taken into account all stocks, the work in progress, the capacity, the pipeline, and this over the entire bill of material. And this enables us to calculate delivery dates that can be met. And through this, we enable our customers to achieve a real first-class delivery reliability. In other words, we generate transparency for our customer and for their customer within this part of the solution. Okay, the next step, step 5, 4 and 5. So step 4 is about planning the constraint. So to reduce the WIP, to unleash the flow, and to get real fast, with other words, to get less idle times and to shorter the lead time. And step 5 is a new priority system for the scheduling to reduce the backlog and, with other words, to produce the right things. So how does it work? Within this step, we automatically determine the critical resources for all materials within their routing. In other words, the respective capacity limitation of the material. And at this point, the first 3 of the 5 focusing steps are applied. So we identify the constraint. So we detect the drum. We exploit it. So we set the buffer in front of the constraint to keep the utilization rate high and also the throughput high. Then we subordinate everything to synchronize the material release to the respective capacity of the constraint. So the rope, drum, buffer, rope. And for this reason, we also have a special name for those critical resources. We call them gating machine or gatings, because they are kind of, so their capacity and their work in progress, they are kind of the gate to get to schedule the material, to get the material into the system or to let it in. And the solution itself looks like this. So the advanced MDO4 was extended by a new MRP run by SAP, which calculates the economical stock, our economical stock for all materials based on this, also the new priority calculated for all materials. And here the planner has an overview for all materials in one cockpit and can schedule them based on the free work in progress and the relative buffer consumption. So completely prioritized through the whole company. So this is how it works. This is the economical stock. So we take into account the physical stock plus inflow, so plus, for example, production orders or purchasing orders, minus the outflow within the replenishment lead time. So we only take the things within the replenishment lead time into account. Only for reservations, they are also taken into account if they are outside the replenishment lead time. So it's always physical stock plus inflow minus outflow. And this gives us the economical stock. So the real situation, the real urgency of a material within its replenishment lead time. And based on this economical stock, we then calculate the relative buffer consumption. So it's a simple calculation: green line minus economical stock gives us the delta to the green line, and divided by the green line, we have a percentage, and this is the urgency of the material. So a small example over here. We have a green line of 400. We have economical stock of 300. So we have delta to the green line of 100. This gives us, within this simple calculation, 25%. And this also works with a situation that has, for example, a real big customer order within the replenishment lead time. So let's take into account a situation like this. We get a real big customer order into our replenishment lead time, now about 400 more. So we get a economical stock of minus 400. So we have a delta to the green line of 800, and we have again the relative buffer consumption of 200%. So it always works, and it always gives us the right urgency of the material. And it doesn't matter how much do you have on, or how much do you have on stock for the different materials. In this situation, we again have a clear priority. The right-hand material is clearly more urgent because there is a bigger relative buffer consumption, in this case of 60%. And in this way, we get a clear way to compare each and every material of the company in its urgency. And the good thing is, it also works for make to order in a different way, but it works. So both types of materials are prioritized within one clear list to make sure that the most urgent material is always at the top and in focus of the planner. So we already discussed the make to stock thing. Now we want to take a look at the make to order thing. As you all know, a division by 0 is a bit a hard thing. So my calculator does not like it. So we had to search for another solution. In this case, a division by the green line of 0 does not work. So we have taken into account the time for the order, so the replenishment lead time. So in this case, we set a start value, a start relative buffer consumption value for, in this scenario, of 1000%. And we take into account the replenishment lead time until the delivery date is there. And with every day, the material gets prioritized higher and higher until the delivery date is today. And in this case, then we have 1100%. So again, we have the same value, the relative buffer consumption, and a good way to compare all of those materials within one list. So we have both make to order, make to stock, and also things like engineering to order in one list, prioritized and all taken into account. So this transparency again avoids very expensive mistakes and makes the planner's job much easier and more structured. Okay, the next two steps, we have also with step 6 a new priority system for the shop floor. We call it the TOC Kpi Controlling System. So with this, we, for example, this is only one example, reduce the idle time. And the step number 7 is the bottleneck determination. So this is part of the last 2 steps of the 5 focusing steps for a good operational and strategic decision. The TOC Kpi Controlling System. this thing is implemented for each of our customers, and it clearly identifies potentials within the production. So here we also find the so-called PUGI system. And with this part of the system, we are also can identify the overall company bottleneck. It gets clearly recognizable. And for the next slide, I also have example. So within the following load analysis, we can see the bottleneck with the biggest red part of the bar. Those are the not already scheduled orders that are, I would say, late in case of a make-to-order material, or in case of a make-to-stock material that are under the red line. So on those days in load are then summed up in this bar and show clearly where we have the bottleneck within our production. We can also see the load within the production, and also the backlog for the different gatings. But the important thing is to identify the bottleneck over here and to handle it after that. Another part of this area is the clear priority of each production order in order to realize the best possible lead time. So this priority is calculated by the capacity requirements planning cockpit in SAP. And it's basically an execution list. So we again prioritize each and every production order with our relative buffer consumption in this case. So, and now I want to show you some examples how we calculate it. So we have over here at one non-bottleneck resource 3 different production orders of 3 different materials. And in the first step, if we only know the delivery date, so for production order A in 2 days, for B in 3 days, and for C in 7 days, most of you and also I would decide to produce A, B, C to get the delivery date in. If we maybe have another information for the scheduling date or scheduled date or the production start date in this case, maybe someone would say, okay, I want to produce CBA. Some other guy would say, okay, I want to produce ABC again. So it's the question, how do we prioritize those production orders? We are doing something totally different in this scenario. We are calculating again the relative buffer consumption with the replenishment lead time. So for A, for example, we have the 5 days. For B, attention please, we have only we have 10 days, so we have scheduled it a bit late. We only have 7 days within the production. And for material C or production order C, we now have about 20 days. And again, we are calculating the already consumed divided by our buffer. So for the first one, it's 3 divided by 5, so 60%. For the second one, it's 7 divided by 10, so 70%. And for the last one, it's 65%. And now we have again a clear priority, so we would just produce BCA to get the best out of the whole system. The next point is the fully integrated supply chain management and vendor managed inventory across company boundaries. And this has another highlight within itself, because we are now able to give our customer the opportunity to sell to their customer again an unrefusable offer. So in the first step, within the first solution of this, or within the first step of the solution, we are able to integrate the supplier directly into our system in order to realize a better availability for the company, but also enable a better planning for the supplier. So with this, we can reduce inventory and this through the whole supply chain, because we have a better transparency. So basically a win-win situation for the supplier and the company. This, in the second step, we are also able to make the same thing with our customer. So we can also connect them to the system. So nothing less than a vendor managed inventory. And this is what our customers now sell as a service. So as an unrefusable offer to their customer. So vendor managed inventory. And in the same way, with the new speed the company gains through the project, our customers also offer reliable, rapid response to their customer again. And by connecting the customer to the system, the company also takes advantage of another thing, 1 day order lead time through the whole system. And that's another part of the new MRP run within the TOC SAP.
What a catch.
Sorry?
What a catch.
Can you repeat? Okay. Maybe it was a mistake. Okay. Reduce order lead time to 1 day. So what we are talking about at this point, if we sell less product, how long does it take for purchasing to notice it? Does they notice it immediately, or does it take a little bit longer, or does they notice it at all? Or does the finance department notice that the inventory is too high in this scenario? So, and another question is, when does our supplier notice the new demand by the market? And why is this, is everything like this? So this is basically a communication problem through the BOM structure and also through company borders. So many companies work with triggering demand or reporting stock, and only if they cross this point within the stock level, they get the information down the BOM, or they give it over to the next supplier and so on. And this is a big problem in case of big BOM structure or many plants or many suppliers. This is getting a big problem because the transparency is going down, and with this the stock level is going up. And in our system we are doing something totally different, because we always calculate the economical stock and always the delta to the green line. And this delta we are always giving through the whole BOM structure and also through company borders. So if the customer is connected to your system and he takes out one part, one thing of the stock, it's calculated through the whole BOM in the next moment to have a clear transparency down the BOM, down to the supplier, and to fill it up synchronized. So there are many advantages of the order lead time, and there are two on the slide. The first is every day all manufacturing levels know how the stock on the upper manufacturing levels are changed. So there's no place for the bullwhip effect. And the second advantage is the process can easily be extended beyond company borders to customers, but also to suppliers. So in conclusion, it is a holistic software solution, and that is able to take a company to basically a whole new level. So we have a due date quotation, We have the TOC KPI Controlling System. We can do vendor managed inventory, supply chain management with our supplier to connect to them with the software solution. And we can do the constraint planning. We can calculate the replenishment lead times and also the stock levels. And the last point on this list, Paul Seifriz will explain to you. It's the big highlight of our software solution, the big new calculations within, the big new algorithms within the solution, and Paul will explain them. Thank you, everybody.
Any questions? So if you see, what was the idea from us when we have done this in the past, when we developed with Alex and with other guys, the big ideas that we say, the TOC approach are big, but it's only a real rule and a structure. And we are focused on it. And when we say, let us look on the master data, then we have the replenishment lead times, we have the right stock levels on the right decoupling points, and we have automatic adjustment of all these levels. And then we have every day order lead time of 1 day. So we have the fully transparent of the full supply chain. And then we have a really new priority system that shows you what to produce next. And we have it make to order, make to stock, it's equal. We can do it for every kind of industry. So, and then we define virtual drums, okay, that we say every machine or machine group or the assembly group will be a gating machine. And we say, oh, those are all virtual drums. And then we only connect all the articles to the virtual drums. And then we see which virtual drum has the most articles. They are in red, have the highest priorities. And it's the constraint. And this we can do every day. And so we have the fully transparency, and then we only manage the flow. This is then the 5 steps, and we do it permanently every day. And we can do it to the full supply chain. We can do it for suppliers and for customers. So, and when we say all these basic functions, what we need for the TOC approach, we can do full autonomic. This is the future begins now. This is the next step that we say in the future. When a customer order come in and we have this algorithm, we look to spikes, we have a leveling. So we are able to look that there are where in the positioning of the next weeks are free space of capacity, and then we can put in. We have the possibility to optimizing the setup rate, that we can say, oh, this is a constraint. We are optimizing the setup time. This is all what we can do with filters. So we have all that, but we can do it full automatic. That's the next step. This is why I say the future begins now. Autonomous planning and scheduling based on the TOC rules. Okay, and a KPI system behind it that shows you, are there some Murphys? Okay. And we have monitors that shows you the Murphys that you can say, what is a good next step? Where is the big poogie approach there? Where are the biggest amount of profit we can do? And for one customer, we have optimized the supply chain based on the relative throughput per CCR. And we can optimize the company based on the best profit. So that was the whole approach, the whole approach, the whole approach that we can input the SAP. And that was nice. So we say SAP is able to do that full automatic in the standard. We need no interface, we need no special softwares, we need an add-on from SAP CS Customer Solutions, yes. But it's fully integrated. And this was for us nice that we can say now, when we can do it in SAP, we are very fast for the implementation. We need no interface. We have all the master data and we can do all of them full automatic. We know that it makes no sense that we do it in the first steps full automatic. We must get always for every customer a good feeling for the numbers, that is this good, are this good decision, and the people must understand what the software do. But after a few months or a year or 2 years, the people behind the software say, yes, now I have a good feeling about, and then they can do some full automatic, and the software have the possibility to optimize it based on the constraint. That's the idea. Okay, that's the fully idea what we have done, and now it runs. The future begins now. TOC open a new area in SAP planning. Okay, so that's
Paul, just a question of clarity. Can you hear me?
We hear you twice, so I think there are two systems within one room.
Is it better now?
Give it to me. Give it to me.
Sorry. Paul, can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Now it's good.
Okay. As the title of this webinar is about TOC in SAP.
Yes.
Do I understand you correctly? Is that what you have just described, you and Denise, is what you have developed, which is sort of your programs that are add-ons on the SAP, and you can come to an SAP user that has at the moment a running system, and you bring your system and just plug it in.
No.
For interface, it is just an add-on.
It's SAP in Walldorf, the big owner of SAP, has programmed it in a special room, okay, in a TOC room. So we don't need, it's a namespace, okay? So it's fully in SAP. So when a customer, they have SAP, say they want to have the TOC solution, okay, I do a call to SAP in Walldorf and say, please put in this version of this customer, this add-on, this namespace.
Okay. So now it is within SAP, there's a special room, and a customer that knows about it can say, I want specifically TOC on my SAP.
Yes.
Now, if this is an existing SAP user already, okay, can they now ask for this room to be added to their system? And do they need integrators, yourself or any other integrators, in order to put it in?
Yes. Normally, the SAP at itself put the software in the system, but to customize it, to look what is the real need for this customer, where is the constraint, how we develop the gating, the virtual constraints. This is all that a TOC consultant should do. Okay, so the customer normally need this the software. It comes from SAP in Walldorf, okay, from the main company, and they need and the implementation, the installation of the software come from Walldorf too, but nothing to do with us as a consultant. But the training of the people to understand how they use it is a cooperation between SAP in Walldorf, us, the Alkyoni, and other different consultants, they say, oh, I want to support this. So the market is fully open that the people can do it.
Okay. And you didn't mention at all at the moment the S/4HANA as a planning system. And what's the relationship? Because I understand.
No, for S/4HANA is the database and the basic of the new SAP version. Okay, the old was R3 and now S/4HANA. And the basic is a very, very fast database. But for the planning function, you can do it with the standard SAP. You can implement a tool that was PPPDS, product planning, detail scheduling, and other tools. And one of the tools is that you can say, no, I don't want to have the APO system, the old APO, or the PS, the detail scheduling. It's based on the APO algorithm. They can say, I want to have the TOC algorithm. And then we can implement this function. And it's one function the customer must pay. It's clear. But he must pay for the DS, for the old APO. Or he can say, no, I want to have other planning philosophy. I want to have the TOC philosophy. Then he can use that. So SAP normally is a kind of warehouse. They can say, I have a software. And they can all. You can do standard planning. You can do APO. You can do DS, and you can do TOC. And the customer can now decide, I want to do TOC. Then he must pay for the add-ons, and then we can do the implementation. But they need no interface. It's standard.
Okay.
But you must click. It must be installed. Yes, it's normal. But then it runs, and it runs in all versions. Today we have no limitation about the versions of the SAP. We can do it in S/4HANA. We can do it in R3. No limitation. It's programmed that we can do in every version of SAP today.
Yeah, and just to be absolutely clear, Paul says from time to time it's an add-on, but it's not an add-on. It is programmed into SAP. The simple planning software that we also have, that would be an add-on and could be added on to SAP. But the SAP in TOC in SAP is not an add-on.
It's only additional function. Yes, thank you, Rudy. Okay.
Yeah.
So in German, Germany we say you must buy it. It's a function, and the SAP open it, and then you can use it. But the people must train. They must understand. It's a other kind of mindsetting. You know it. TOC, it's other mindsetting, and we always train the people when we do a project. We need the software implementation. We need the customizing of the software. We need the training of the software, and we need the supply chain management design. We need consulting. What should TOC be in this company? In which way we should implement it? And what are there good numbers? Are there not so good numbers? What should we change? And then we must train the whole people that they understand. We have a reduction of the WIP, we manage the flow, we have new KPIs. It's a TOC project, but we have no more problems with software. We can put it in SAP, patch, and it runs, and it's very stable. That's the idea. Okay, and the simple planning can do to all other ERP. We can do it to SAP too, but it makes no sense that we do that when we have integrated solution. Okay, so, and the idea is always the right products, the right quantity, right positioning, at the right time with the right priority, and what I have written before, on the right price. So we have the possibility to have a calculation on the TOC approach, that we have the relative throughput per constraint, and then they have the possibility to have a product portfolio analyzed, that you see which products we have more profit or less profit on the view of the constraints. Okay.
I have a question. This is Sanjeev.
Was?
Yes, yes,
Hello?
Sanjeev.
Yes.
So my question is, first a comment. It's a great breakthrough, I think, purely from a marketing standpoint. The question really is twofold. One is, what is your revenue model?
The
That is one
revenue,
question.
the revenue model.
Yeah,
Do you ask me from the view of a customer, or do you ask me on the view of a consultant?
that was my second question. So both.
Okay. Normally, when you say you want to have the implementation of the SAP software solution, it's a kind of software as a service. So you must pay every monthly amount of money that you get the software solution. Okay.
Got it. Yeah.
Okay.
So how much money does the customer pay?
It depends on the size of the company. Okay.
Of course.
If you have a smaller company, it's less. If you have more, then it's higher. And you found the right prices on the SAP standard price list. So you can go in and you see what it costs. I want to send everybody after then this presentation. You can get it. It's no problem from us. Okay. And you get a link that you see where the prices of the SAP tools there. And then you can go in and then you see, oh, what is the price of the money? The price of the software. So you can see it and you can say, oh, for this company in this price and so on. And it depends.
But just humor me. Let's say I am a $200 million manufacturer. That is the size of my company.
Mm-hmm.
And I just have one factory, but it makes $200 million worth of product. So what would be the price I would pay?
Oh,
about range, order of magnitude.
I must look on it. Okay. I can do for everybody a small calculation. When you give me some numbers, then we can look in the price list, and then you see it depends how many SAP instances you have. If you start with only one factory, okay, then it's cheaper than you do it for 10 factories. Okay, so we always look what is the planning area that you manage with this software.
Okay.
Okay, so we can do it. This is the price of the software. So it's a monthly.
I'm still going to press. Is it like $100 a month, or is it like for the $200 million manufacturer, or is it like $100,000 a month?
No.
What is the order of magnitude?
It will be between 10,000 or 15,000 euros. I must look on it.
Okay, no, that is good enough. I think that's good enough.
Yeah.
The second part of the question is, what is in it for the consultants?
Okay. Then you need training. Okay. You need training from the software.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. For the consultant. So how will the consultant make money?
Yes. This is the next step. The customer and the consultants can realize more projects more quickly. Okay. Then they can achieve a better profit. Now we think we are very fast to do it. Okay. And it's fully integrated into SAP. It means the risk from the software is very low. Okay.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So that is the benefit. But the question
and the benefit is he can do the whole trainings. Okay.
Yeah.
And he get from the trainings the money for all the trainings, for the support for the future. A lot of people come when we have a fluctuation in this company. You always can do standard trainings, you can do the SAP trainings, you can do the TOC trainings, and when the customer see this is very fast big profit what he get, you have the chance that the rollout comes very fast. So you can go with a good daily rate in. Normally we have a daily rate about between 2,000 and 3,000 euros a day. Okay, when we do supply chain management design, we look on it. The daily rate is we have very fast big results. Okay, and these big results give the chance that we have.
Fair enough. So I understand all the benefits. Just so that you understand my background, I've been selling TOC software and consulting for 30 years. So I understand all that part, right? The question I'm asking is, so does the consultant make money only by the services they provide, or they also make money from the software revenue that you get?
They get when it depends from who come the lead. When the software when the consultant bring us the lead and sell the software, he get a part from the software price. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. When we have the lead and he support us, then he get nothing about the software.
Got it. That is good. Thank you. And the final question is, how would you avoid channel conflict between you providing the services and the consultant providing the services?
It's very easy. For us, it's very easy. The first shot is the winner. Okay. When a customer and consultant come to us, I have a customer and I think he's good enough for TOC. You go to the CEO and say, oh yes, this is the new way to do it in SAP, and it's your consultant, it's your customer as a consultant, then you have, it's your lead. It's very easy. Okay. When the customer come to us directly and say, I want to do that, and we go to them and make the presentation, and 2 weeks later you come and say, oh, this was my customer, then I say, he comes to us directly. That's the idea. Okay. If you do the sales process, you get the money. If we do it, we get the money. It's very easy.
Okay. Okay.
Very fair.
Okay.
And we have one direction.
No, I understand.
Open books. Open books.
My feedback is very simple. I think that is not a good way to resolve the conflict. I think it will hurt you, but it's your business.
Yep.
Right. So that is not a good way to resolve that channel conflict.
Okay.
It will create more conflict for you, because I think what you have here is something potentially very big.
Yes.
I think you are putting artificial constraints in its growth, but that is my perspective.
Okay.
Take it or leave it. But that is good.
Sanjeev, we can discuss it.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah. We can discuss it. Really good.
Final question I have is, so you have already overcome one big obstacle to marketing, right? By having it inside SAP. So that already creates, some momentum potentially, but it at least overcomes an obstacle. But on the marketing front, how are you planning to market it? How are you planning to make more customers aware of this?
Okay, we have two strategies. The first strategy is that we want to do the pumpkin idea. Okay, I call it the pumpkin idea. This means I go to a lot of conferences. It was a bit a problem the last 2 years, depends on Corona, and I do the presentation there. I want to go with SAP to the trade shows and make presentations like that. Okay, a little bit more deeper insight and discuss it. Here are TOC guys there, so it's not necessary that to explain all very detailed. Okay, and this is the first from the pumpkin principle, and the second is that we open courses, that we say, oh, how we can plan the future with autonomous planning and scheduling. So this is the pumpkin principle. The second is the sniper principle. The sniper principle is that we go to TOC consultants or SAP consultants, both, and say, you can be a kind of representative of us. Okay, for this area, Rudy is responsible. Okay, he is the international market partner from us who look to these partners that they say, oh, you want to be a representative for us, and then they can go to these customers and say, oh, this is one of us, this is one of us, and this is one of us. And then for us, it's better when we say this consultant is responsible for this customer. Okay, for Alkyoni, it's not possible to open the market that we can do all of the business. We are in the background, we deliver the software, we deliver the basic trainings that the consultants can do that. And the sniper principle is that they can say, here is an open webinar, you can show about it, but I want to call them back and do the sales process for the whole, for us and for himself.
Okay.
And this is the sniper principle. So we have two principles, the pump gun principle and the sniper principle. And we look to strategic partners that they can open with us together the market.
Got it. So that is good. So I think my feedback there is, I think you are taking a very old, stodgy sales and marketing model, and so you are basically limiting the potential of what you can achieve with this marketing model. I think there are proven models out there. I don't need to pontificate about that, but there are proven models out there for, especially in the SaaS world, which is the software as a service world, that you should look into. But this idea of, what you are adopting is a very old enterprise software selling model. I think you need to think about SaaS selling models, SaaS marketing and selling models. I think otherwise, I think you have, what you have done is you have removed a major obstacle to making organizations more efficient. And you have a huge market in front of you. But I think the way you are going about in terms of channels and marketing, I think you are limiting the potential by a lot.
Okay. Good. Sanjeev, we can discuss about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you can get my contact information. Feel free to call me or talk to me or email me. Yeah?
Yes, we can do it. We have the price from the software is on the SAP basic size. Okay. So it's not so easy for us to change these prices. So we must discuss it with SAP. This one, when we want to change the software pricing model. Okay. The model for the implementation and for the fee that we can get when we bring the customer a big efficiency. These are other discussion what we can do, but this must be a little bit independent from the software price. Okay.
Fair enough. So I think Rudy has my information. I know I can. So we can always talk. But I enjoyed the presentation. Thank you.
Okay.
I do, and I owe you a call anyway, Sanjeev. We wanted to talk about queues.
Yes, queues, and then we need to go skiing also.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Other questions?
I had a couple. Can you hear me?
Yes, Rob. Yeah, I can hear you.
This is Rob Newbold. Mine were more to do with the software, but I like that Sanjeev brought up the model because that's very important. But and honestly, I didn't understand. You talked about decoupling points in, I guess, step 1, and you talked about DBR, I think, in step 4. I wasn't sure how you were equating decoupling points with buffers. Are decoupling points essentially product completion, or what? How do the decoupling points relate to drum buffer rope, I guess, is my question.
We decided drum buffer rope to replenishment. Okay. And the replenishment solution, what we have, we define, and when we want to have always a high delivery quote, then we must always, when the customer come, deliver. We must always be able to deliver. Okay, that we say when we want to deliver, we must go from the end product to the half finished goods and to the raw materials. And then we say when the market lead time is 4 weeks, for example. Okay. And the replenishment lead time for the end product was 2 weeks. So it's not necessary for us that we have this as key, this part on the stock. So we have enough time, 4 weeks to 2 weeks, enough time to produce it. But when we go to the next level, to the half finished goods, and we see that the replenishment lead time for 1 half finished good, there will be 6 weeks, then we can say the 2 weeks plus the 6 weeks are 8 weeks. and the market lead time are 4 weeks. So it's necessary that we have this half finished good on stock, that we are able to deliver the end product in time. So, and this will be for us one decoupling point, that we say, oh, from the finished good, we don't need stock, so we don't need a red and a green line, but we have it, but the value is 0. But for the half finished good, okay, we need a red and a green line, and the value there is higher than 0. And this will be the decoupling point. And this we can do very fast to the whole BOM structure. And then they say you in which position you need stock or not. Okay. And then you will be sure that you do the right things on the right place. This is what is there. Huh? And this is to create the decoupling points. And to control the decoupling points, we have for each line a single simple drum buffer rope or drum buffer rope controlling system. So we do for each line of the whole company, we have a drum buffer rope or a simple drum buffer rope priority system, which manage the flow. And so we manage this on the whole BOM, on the whole company, and we can do it for suppliers or for customers too. That's the idea.
So essentially your replenishment levels are for, it's essentially what we would have called in the old days shipping buffers, but it's wherever you want to put them for, let's say, intermediate parts or finished goods.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
And this we do full automatic for the whole company. Every day, every night, and you see it online. You can do it online every minute, but we always say do it once or twice a day. Once a day is good enough, that you get a little bit silence in the flow. When you do it every minute, you have too much bad multitasking.
Sure, no, okay, thanks. Another question that I had, and this is maybe more of an SAP question, is what capability do you have for what if kinds of analysis? For example, suppose we added capacity here, or put in a new plant here, or whatever. Is that a straightforward kind of, or suppose we did a promotional campaign and got a whole lot of orders for this product?
Okay. There are different ways to manage this. Okay, when you go to an SNOP plan, or you took any forecast in it, the system can plan with this forecast, and we can divide it, this outflow, we call it outflow, in planned outflow or secure outflow. When you do a forecast order in the system, when we go to the basic system, what we have, we call simple planning, okay? And this forecast came from an umbrella order, and it was no real order still there. The system say, hey, please be careful. There come a forecast or umbrella order with no real customer demand in the system or in the lead time to want, and you can produce it. Please decide it if you want to do that, yes or no. And so we have the chance that we put in the system some marketing special orders, and when we say yes, we need it, it's real, then the system looks where are open space to produce it. And when the order is in it, you see in one night, you see what's happening for the whole company. So the sales department come, or the marketing department say, oh, this is a good campaign, what we want to do, and put these numbers in the system. Half an hour later, when you press the button, you see, oh, what happened for the whole supply chain.
I guess I was thinking more in terms of like a sandbox, where you can try out scenarios and play with different kinds of things. And maybe that's not feasible in SAP. I just don't know.
Okay, I want to write it down. Okay, now you want to create simulations. that you can say, when we do this, what the system can do it, but you want to do it only for a view that what happened if then. Yeah, okay, I understand. I want to check it. This is more detailed in SAP. I want to do it with the. Okay. Also the possibility to do it in a sandbox, we can do it. Okay, you have more system, but I want to discuss it with the whole SAP partners. It can be that there is a solution. We have write it down, and you get the answer up.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Yeah, it's huge potential value.
Yeah, I think
my
so.
last question was just, I know if you look on the SAP website or something, they say that they are DDMRP certified. Is that something that you have or you're looking at, or is it even applicable for what you do?
For certification?
Demand-driven MRP?
No, we don't want to do that. We know what this DDMRP is. We know it, okay? But the approach from the TOC is completely different than the DDMRP, okay? Had nothing to do. Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I know that
that is a very broad brush statement. Okay, I would. Okay.
But how do you go into it? I mean, you know.
Yes, I know the DDMRP approach very good in detail, and I know what the SAP is certified by the DDMRP. Okay, and the customer can say, I want to have the DDMRP, or I want to have the bigger approach, and this is the TOC approach. This is what they have.
So from a competitive advantage perspective, how would you characterize yours as the superiority that you offer, if you will?
Okay, we have full autonomous planning and scheduling. We have capacity planning. We have constraint planning, and we have a kind of prioritization that is complete in another way than the DDMRP do it. Okay, we do it depends on the capacity that is in the company there. We can optimize the setup times, and we have setup rules, and we have a calculation in it that we can do the full supply chain, that we fill up full automatic from the mother warehouse, child warehouses, and so on. So there's a big surprise of functions, okay, that is on a totally other focus. We are not focused on priorities, this, like DDMRP, we are focused on the capacity with priorities. So we add one additional, or the big additional advantage there, that we are focused on the TOC, on the constraint approach, that we are always do it on the right focus. It's a little bit different. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. And that's
basic on the SAP basics. Okay, both are good enough. Okay, when we come to a company that only has Handelsware, a retailer, okay, it can be really good. But when you have really constraints in your company and you have big machines and a lot of articles, then it makes often sense that you do a level higher.
So okay, so DDMRP certification, you could say necessary but not sufficient. Is that?
For us, it's not necessary.
Capabilities not necessary. Oh, okay.
For you, we have check it, make it sense that we do that. Okay. When we want to have the DDMRP certification, we must do a reversible sabotage. We must sabotage the system that we have, that we go, yeah, it is so. And we have discussed it. We have a meeting. You must do that and that. It's like, yeah, we have more information. We can do a lot of more. And then the people say it's equal. When you want to have the certification, must do it in this way. So we don't want to have it. It's for us. It's for us not a goal. It's not a goal.
Rob, from my perspective, the red and green line as we have it, and what DDMRP does from a point of view of inventory management, drives towards the same result.
Right.
And you know that Alan Barnard has done some simulations comparing the TOC way, which is different, might be a little bit different from what we do in his simulations, and DDMRP compares the two, and they are very close,
Right.
from the point of view of inventory management.
Okay. No, thanks. I didn't want to make this a big thing. I was just, I'm no expert in that. That's for sure.
You're an expert in project management.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's all the questions I had.
Thank you.
Rob, thank you. Rudy or Paul, there are specific questions in the chat. Can one of you please, so Dennis, can one of you go through the questions, read them and give the answers? I think it will be much better than rather than we read and you will try to catch from hearing.
Yeah, I think Paul should read them and answer them. He is much more fit in the software than I am, and I will help.
One of you, please.
Paul?
Yes, one moment, we must look that we can see it. So in front of the camera, I have no access to the chat. I've had access to Zoom, but not to the chat. No, I want to look.
Let me read it to you, Paul. Does the software also suggest quantity distribution of finished goods from CDC to regional distribution centers?
From mother warehouse to child warehouses?
Yes.
Yes. Very nice, really good. When you have in SAP this function there, then you can do it. You can look on you can look for each stock, okay, that you can say the mother warehouse has a red and a green line and the child warehouse has a red and a green line. Then you have a dynamization on each of the warehouses and of the production. So you can say to fulfill all of the other levels, you need this level on there. And then it goes fully automatic that you fill up. And we have a kind of priority system that the system decided between A or B, where is more priority. So if you look on the system, you can say you have two child warehouses and you have one mother warehouse, and each of them child warehouse need 100 pieces, but you have only 50 or 150 you should deliver 200, but you have on the mother warehouse only 150. Then there are rules there that you can say we can do 50-50, so 75 to A or B, or you can say 100 to A and 50 to B. And there's an algorithm behind it that shows you where are more risk to do that. Okay, and then they can automatically say what should do deliver to each of the child warehouses. Okay. Is good enough for? Yeah.
Next question, Darius Gudadis asks, do I understand correctly that the algorithm tracks materials only? So do we still need to update our routings with TGB and TE minutes? And I have a problem with TGB and TE, what that means.
I don't understand the question.
Well, maybe Darius can help us. Do I understand correctly that the algorithm tracks materials only? So do we still have to update routings with TGB and TE minutes? Maybe Dennis can help.
I'm not totally sure about this question. So yes, we are updating the materials, but within SAP, you can also update all of those routings automatically, right? So that's a basic function of SAP. So that's the reason why I'm not sure about this. So we are not calculating them within TOC SAP automatically because we don't need it. We need the replenishment lead time, and those we are calculating. And we don't even need so if I understand it right, we don't even need the TGB and TE totally update and super directly over there. We need a good history of the replenishment lead time, and out of that we can get those, and with them we can then calculate the stock. And we can also analyze if the replenishment lead time is doing well, or we need to recalculate it because we are getting longer replenishment lead times or shorter replenishment lead times. So those are also within an exception monitor. So they are automatically updated after a given time.
Yeah.
So but I'm not totally sure about the question. Maybe someone could repeat this, the person that was asking.
There was clarification from Darius. TGB is cycle time of the product.
TGB is cycle time of the product.
This is what he wrote just right now on chat to everybody. The last message that came. TGB is cycle time of the product.
Okay, what we do is the following. We check the amount of pieces they are under red, and then we get a priority depends on the difference between the economical stock and the red line. Okay, and then when you are under the red line, the article has a very high priority, and it's a total different to DDMOP. Totally different, this kind of prioritization. And we can do the amount of pieces that we need to the cycle time plus the setup time. So we see not only the amount, we see the time that we need for producing it. So we have two views. One view on the article side, how many articles we need, and on the time side, that we say, oh, these are the time that we need for producing. And the sum of all times, of all delta to greens, of all articles for one gating machine shows you the amount of time you need. And then you can compare it with your calendar. And then you see, is this a constraint from the priorities, or is this a constraint from the time? And you can see how many shifts, additional shifts I need that I can solve this problem. Okay, and you can add some kind of Rüstrad setup wheel.
The color wheel is what Rüstrad is a color wheel for.
Yeah,
for
the kind of color wheel that you see in which sequence you should produce it, that you optimize on a constraint your setup time. And then the system can sort to the priorities, and they can sort in an additional way on the optimization of your setup. And then the people, the planner, can decide, I want to do it on the setup, or I will do it on the priorities. Both is possible. So the system is open for that. Okay.
Darius, did that answer your question? If not, maybe you can
good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, Darius.
Okay.
Yes.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So basically, I'm working now with SAP. I'm a company called Continental AG. It's a big company. So question, because what we do now is that our production planning is based on the idle cycle time. In SAP it's called TGB, and this time is put it in the routings, and let's say the planning tool called PCPs runs those routings, and according to the cycle time is planning the let's say demand. So the question is that this algorithm doesn't need any more this let's say cycle time, because as I understand this algorithm, this all let's say tool is based on the tracking the materials only. No. Just put it in.
We need the cycle time, we need the bombs, we need the routings, we need the whole cycle time that we can plan it. There is a fine planning tool inside it, okay, from the time buffer consumption, and that we can measure it when it comes to the next, that we can see what is in front of me, what is on the way and by the side. So we need it, okay. But this, what Dennis said before, is we know that the cycle time not always be very detail. Murphy exists.
Yes.
So we need it in an approximately way that we say it's good enough to start, that we can plan. And then we must focus. This is what the consultant should do. We must focus on the shop floor, that when some cycle time is too long, or the waiting time before the next position in the routing is too long too, then we open a PUGI and say, oh, what happened there? So we have a reduction of the WIP, we have a good flow, and every Murphy, not every, but we have a borderline in it when the Murphy is higher than X minutes and have an impact of the due date, then we must solve this problem. Then we write a PUGI card, and this is consulting. This is the real old PUGI process from Eli, that we say when we have the OEE on the constraint, and we have the waiting time on the non-constraint, and the quality of both of them, when there is a big problem, then we must maximize it. Then we must open it and do it in such a way.
I would like to just clarify one thing, Darius. Cycle time is definitely a major element in the MRP planning system. Okay, and that includes the touch time, includes the wait time, the queue time, etc. TOC is basically taking this cycle time and transforming into production buffer time.
Yes.
Okay, and that is a significant difference. Yes, it is because the focus there is to take out all of the idle time and to come to a production buffer time, which is challenging but achievable. And I believe that a part of the TOC in SAP, TOC SAP, is the tracking of the production buffer time. And with that comes the suggestions either to reduce it or to increase it, the same way that probably was described with the stock levels. Is the same concept. The difference between cycle time and production buffer is the understanding that the production buffer has to be monitored, managed very carefully, and hence your question is spot on. Yes, it's just that I would rephrase it. Does the TOC SAP track the production a buffer, which I believe, Paul, this is no.
You have explained it very, very clear what we do. Okay, so we mentioned this. Oh yeah, the production buffer, not the cycle time. Yes, we do it in the basic TOC way. Very good. My English is not so good that I can do it like you have done it. Perfect. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. And one more question is, because let's say the company has different plants, does this tool can be implemented on one plant, not or it needs to be for the whole company?
Yes, yes, good question. Yes, this is what we can do. So you can do it for one plant, and you can check it in this plant, and it's for this plant really good. You must only pay for this plant. Yes, it's possible to do that.
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it depends on different SAP rules that they have. We must check it, but it's okay.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, perfect. It's one idea from the sales strategy from SAP. Thank you very much. Additional question. I like it. Okay. When no question, then I want to give it to Rudy. Rudy have the chance to close the room this evening. Thank you very much. You get from us the slides, and you get links from us that you can look to the SAP. And if anybody has any questions, please write it to us. If you have ideas about others, ideas for strategy, for sales, we are open for all. We have fun, and let us have fun together. I think Rudy closed it, and Rudy has a lot of nice sentences, and now I want to give it to Rudy. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I guess you can still see the slides. So what you can see in front of you are the from Ellie's article, Standing on the Shoulders of Giants, the 4 basic concepts of both, not just both, so all 3 of Ford's flow, Taiichi Ohno's TPS, and TOC, his TOC, Goldrat's TOC. I'm not going to read them out to you. You can read them yourself. But these 4 points are what we want to support with our software. So can you go on one page? Thank you. So way back in 2018 and even before, when our big customer got interested in adopting this system into his SAP, this is what Paul asked. What if we can get SAP to adopt and integrate TOC in their ERP system? And now we have it. And with SAP behind us, we have a chance, not just we in Alkyoni, but everybody has a chance to make TOC more popular, a chance to begin to make TOC the main way, something that we can share in, all of us together. And one of the things that that Ellie said back then before he died was that we had to make the professionals support SAP, support TOC. And this is one thing that is supporting TOC. We just have to make sure that everybody knows that SAP has this thing. And I hope you will help us make this thing known, and I hope you'll make use of TOC and SAP with your customers. So again, thanks very much. You got our phone numbers. I think you're going to see some links to the TOC and SAP site at SAP. And if you have any need, please call us.
Yeah. Maybe a small question.
Yeah.
If another ERP vendor would like to do the same thing, can you be the partner as well?
To put TOC
same type of
theirs?
logic in another ERP.
To put TOC into Oracle, for instance,
or Infor.
Or Infor, if they ask nicely, I'm sure that Paul's arm can be twisted.
Without any conflict with SAP, it will be doable?
That is a good question. We'll have to see about that. The technology is ours.
Yeah.
The TOC technology that's there.
We have some
thank you.
We have some other ERP systems, and we show them what we want to do, and the other ERP systems said to us, only SAP say, yes, we want to have it. We are so big and we see such a big market to do that. Yes, we want to do it. The other, like Pro Alpha or Infor, said, I don't think we need it. We want to use the add-on, the simple planning add-on. Okay, and not everybody want to have it, but it can be in a few years that they can say, yes, the market is there. So you need between 3 or 5 man years to program it, to have all in it. So it's a lot of work to do, and it's always make it sense, or use the special add-on with a good interface, with a standard interface, that we can open it very fast. But yeah, we are open for all. Yehuda, please.
Yeah.
Call me or send me an email, and then we can do it.
Yeah,
I
sure.
can talk about it. No problem.
May I have another question?
Yes.
It's just about all the accounting, throughput accounting, but is also linked to TOC. Has this been implemented also within the SAP system? I mean, all the measurement that is linked to working TOC way? For accounting?
No. For the real accounting, but I really understand, we have some calculations in the simple planning. Okay, we have some calculations in the SAP that you see what is the constraint and that you can see the relative buffer. But the real throughput accounting, that we go to the CFO level, that we see the whole profit and loss and so on, we have done it in SAP with a customer special, but it had nothing to do with this solution. So we have done it with this customer.
Paul, no, I think that the question is different, because when Yuda is probably referring to throughput accounting, we are talking about TIOE, throughput investment operating expenses, and the TVC in terms of helping management to make decisions, operational decisions, rather than looking on the CFO level. But it's fair enough if it is at the moment you don't have it. At the same time, I think that will be natural progression, especially when you're talking about PUGI, about doing the buffer analysis and helping managers in the lower levels to make their own decision. But I understand that at the moment, this is not explicit in your system, which is fair enough.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, thank you for the answers.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you for the questions. So,
thank you for your attention. Odin.
Yes, we would like to wrap it up. I just want to thank you guys, Paul, Dennis, and Rudy, for sharing with us. Throughout the years, we definitely had many occasions by which we worked with companies, and they were either working with SAP, or many times it was a plant that headquarters decided that they want to impose SAP, and then whatever was done, even with Excel, or in the days of disaster that Rob was with us. We have very wonderful disaster implementation.
Say what is disaster?
When those of you that haven't heard it before, it was a system, a planning, production planning system developed by the Goldratt Institute. Ellen Goldratt decided to call it disaster, whatever. Anyway, this system worked very nicely, and we had situation by which suddenly headquarters came in and say, SAP is coming, and you just stop this nonsense and do the TOC or the use your own software. And having now official possibility, it's not necessarily in the plant level it's going to be easy, because you still have to persuade the headquarters that TOC is relevant within their SAP strategies that they've built and so on. But at least, yes, you're not talking about this huge burden and obstacle of how to integrate TOC into SAP if there is already a customer that is willing to do that, because at least the coding exists and it is sitting directly on the database and it's available. So I think that this is a very important sharing for our community to know about that. And we will see if there will be more interest that will be described. Maybe we'll have a more detailed and specific sessions with you guys. So thank you very much.
Can I just make a point?
Sure.
I just wanted to observe, and I may be speaking out of turn, but I see this as a mega breakthrough in the progression of TOC. And the analogy that comes to my mind is one of pole vault. This integration between SAP and TOC actually is like the pole and it just opens up a very different height together. And I'm very sure that over time, the marketing strategy, which is going to be a very major determinant on how this goes forward in terms of what it achieves in terms of progression, will get sorted out. So I want to congratulate the team, Paul, Rudy, and everybody who's put this together. And thank you to both of you for making this available and kickstarting the whole process. Thank you, Oded. Thank you, Jelena.
Thank you, Deepak. So
Thank you, Deepak.
there will be probably a follow-up. Thank you very much. And for everybody who's joined us and contributed. All the best and see you.
Thanks, Oded.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank
Bye.
you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody. It was really nice.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.